Hey, Phil.
Hey, what?
You remember that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back?
Oh, we're doing Holland, aren't we? Hello, and welcome to the Nerd Card. I'm Phil.
I'm Chuck.
And today we're discussing the Spider-Man in the MCU, Tom Holland.
Yeah, the best Spider-Man.
He is. I mean, so we're going to go ahead and get that right out of the way, right up front. Tom Holland in live action is the best Spider-Man. He's the best Peter Parker.
Yep, everything.
He's great at all of it.
What are you doing? Oh, this is nice.
He's the only Spider-Man that I actually believe to be in high school.
You at least 30.
That's a true story.
I mean, the rest of them were watching 20 and 30-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean, especially Toby was like he was hanging out with Anakin Skywalker as a Padawan when they were 40-year-old Padawan.
Yeah, 100%.
He's the only one who looks like he's in high school. All the kids look like they're in high school.
Yeah.
In that film because they're the closest to that age when they filmed that.
Yes, and it should be like that, especially if you're telling the Peter Parker Spider-Man stories while he's in high school.
But they don't do the origin in the first movie. Thank you.
Yes! Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Yes, thank God. Okay, so this is finally we get a first Spider-Man movie with no origin story.
Yep.
It's alluded to a few times throughout the movies.
Because it's not his first appearance in the MCU.
It's not.
Underoos! Nice job, kid.
Thanks.
But we don't get it in those either.
Right.
So that's really cool. We don't need to see it again.
No, we know it.
It's the Batman trope, right?
Right.
You keep seeing Thomas and Martha Wayne die and die and die and die and
about
die. We don't care
5 times.
anymore. We know where Batman comes from.
Yeah.
We know where Spider-Man comes from.
We do.
Don't need to see it
Pretty good
anymore.
idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can imagine quite a bit.
They do sneakily over the course of the 3 Holland films
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
make that his origin, which is it's very well done the way they do it. And it really doesn't hit you until the 3rd movie. And we'll get to that part in another video or later in this video, I should say.
Yes.
But yeah, so this movie starts, and again, like we said, Holland, the reason was really apparent to me, especially in the rewatches and as we've gone through, and we really like Garfield as Spider-Man, but it was really apparent to me, again, or sent it home, because I've had this opinion since Holland's been Spider-Man, but it hit it home again when we rewatched Spider-Man Homecoming. That's better than any other Spider-Man movie. And
all
it's
of the other
worst
5
of the 3 Holland Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, it's better than any of the live action.
Yeah, any of the other 5 live-action Spider-Man movies, it's better than, and it's the worst of the Holland 3 Spider-Man live-action movies.
Not a bad movie, obviously. And it does continue on a tradition of Spider-Man villains that are pretty relatable.
Yeah. Vulture's really relatable.
Yeah, Vulture is. I mean, most of them are. Most of them are decent guys that had something bad happen to them, and they just become this evil, but there's still good in them.
There is still good in him.
Vulture's very much the same way,
Well,
except he kind of goes the other way.
He's seen The Exorcist 176 times, and it keeps getting funnier every time he sees it.
Now what do you think?
You think I'm qualified?
But, wonderfully played by Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton always
can do
plays
no
everything
wrong. Yeah.
wonderfully. Obviously people know him very much for Batman.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
To me, he's Beetlejuice. That's what I know him as. I mean, I
Yeah.
know him as Batman too, obviously, in 1989. But, reviewing that's not very good. Beetlejuice is still
We have our
great.
opinions on that. Go check them out. Yeah.
Beetlejuice is still great. And he carries that kind of, he never does do the, wanna get nuts, kind of voice in this movie.
No, he's very much more intimidating. He does the dark, gravelly, it's awesome. I mean, he's really cool as the Vulture. He plays a different kind of villain.
You're working with a professional here!
Yeah. And the father of the girl that Spider-Man likes.
There's the girl that I like.
And it's a cool rendition of the Vulture. I mean, obviously you're not going to have the original comic books from the 60s, bald guy in a spandex suit with the fur loofah around his head, around his neck, which is great. That's okay. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, thank goodness.
But he does have the, the neck furred like aviator jacket, which is a kind of cool addition when he's flying the wings.
Yes, it's a really cool nod to the original without making it, cheesy. I mean, it's a really cool
And the Vulture's
thing.
easy to make cheesy, and the fact that they didn't is impressive.
It is, very much so. Well, the MCU is really good about handling that sort of stuff. They're also good at twisting things up, and as we talked about before, there is no origin story, and therefore no Uncle Ben.
Right, there's just, again, a younger Aunt May.
Yes.
Marissa Tomei does a great job as Aunt May. I mean, she's there for Peter. She's his everything.
Sure, absolutely.
Like Aunt May is supposed to be. And the Uncle Ben is really filled in by Tony Stark and
Happy Hogan,
and Jon Favreau. So Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr., Happy and Tony Stark, however you want to say it, they kind of fill that part. Tony blatantly hits on Aunt May.
Hey May, how you doing? What are you wearing? Something skimpy, I hope. Forget that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
And then Favreau.
That's
starts,
later.
Yeah. Starts dating her later.
Are you dating?
Yes.
But Tony plays a big role, or RDJ plays a big role in the movie, and it's a weird thing for anyone that's been a fan of Marvel for any length of time that, Iron Man, Tony Stark, was kind of a B character.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't like the A-level. Spider-Man is an A-level character for Marvel. I mean, Iron Man is now. Okay, 100%
he is now.
Is now.
Yes, absolutely.
But before, when they first, again, we've talked about this in other videos, but when they first started the MCU, when they first, Marvel Studios started making films, and it was, Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton and Iron Man were the first two films that came out that year.
Right.
And the reason that it was those two movies, Iron Man in particular, is because Marvel, when they were going through financial troubles before they were owned by Disney, had sold off the licenses to their top properties, being Spider-Man, X-Men, and Fantastic Four.
Those are the three.
To other studios, because of course, if you're going to sell assets, you're going to go for what's the most valuable.
You're going to get the big ones.
And those are the big ones. So Spider-Man, owned by Sony, still the license is still owned by Sony, even though the character is owned by Marvel.
Yep.
Was unavailable to them at the time.
R2.
So they had to go. Unfortunately, Kevin Feige made a really great plan, if that's the one who did it. I'm assuming it was, but whomever did it, they went and made Iron Man. They had an opportunity to get Robert Downey Jr. because most people forget that Robert Downey Jr. had a couple lapses in his personal life that knocked him out of the A-list twice.
Don't ask.
Yes.
And they had the opportunity to nab him before his Meteoric rise again. They gave him the Meteoric rise with this role.
Certainly did.
And no one would have played Tony Stark better than Robert Downey Jr. He was
not a
perfect.
Chance.
And the
He's
only
so
reason
good at it.
they had a shot at him, in my opinion, is because of the issues he had in his personal life.
Sure.
So they make that choice. It makes a huge rise. Iron Man kills it at the box office. Marvel grows. And so now you've made this MCU where Tony Stark and Iron Man is your central number one overall top character, and that's fine. And Robert Downey Jr. done the work and a great job to earn that.
Either way, they definitely interacted in the comics, the two characters.
Well, yeah, they were both in the Avengers at the same time back in the original day.
Exactly.
No matter what, at the end of the day, here's what matters, and we've said this in a couple other videos. Spirit of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This movie and all three movies in the Holland series ooze the spirit of Spider-Man.
They really do.
And that's all that matters at this point.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, and as you mentioned, as we were talking about it, the very name of the movie is Homecoming.
Yeah.
And it's it centers around the homecoming dance or whatever. It doesn't really. I mean, they're at the homecoming dance for 10 seconds?
Yeah, that's not that big of a deal. It's the fact that he's back with Marvel. He's
the
home.
Real homecoming. Which is, he's Spider-Man coming back to Marvel. A couple other things we want to get to before we move on to Far From Home. Number one, the AI, Karen.
Good evening, Peter.
Hello?
Hello?
Congratulations on completing the rigorous training wheels protocol and gaining access to your suit's full capabilities.
Ah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Voiced by Jennifer Connelly.
Yep.
Which is a really cool Easter egg just in and of itself because, of course, she's one of Tony Stark's AIs.
Yep.
And the other of his, Jarvis, was voiced by her real-life husband, Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of trivia there is pretty cool stuff.
Absolutely.
I think one missed opportunity, or maybe it's not a missed opportunity, maybe just one that hasn't come to fruition yet, was Donald Glover being in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's implied that he's Uncle Aaron, as in Miles Morales is Uncle Aaron.
Yes.
He plays Aaron Davis. And
heavily implied.
I just need something to stick out somebody. I'm not trying to shoot them back in time.
I got anti-grav climbers.
Climbers?
Right.
Yes.
Into the Spider-Verse is just Aaron, Uncle Aaron, but he says, I have a nephew that lives in this neighborhood, and it's all accurate. It lines up, it checks out.
Yeah.
With being Miles Morales' uncle. So hopefully when they do bring Miles Morales into live action, because they're going to, make no mistake, that's going to happen.
100%. Yes.
They go back and have Donald Glover as Prowler, because why wouldn't you? Why would you have Donald Glover play a bit part
with
for
like
no reason?
5 lines. Yeah, that's
it's Donald Glover. Even then, it was Donald Glover. It's not a guy you just pull in for no reason.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. I'd love to see him as Prowler.
So
I think he'd be killer.
He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, he really is.
Everything you've heard about me is true.
Come on,
Chuck. Anything else with Homecoming?
No, I think that's pretty much it for that movie. It's a great bringing Spidey, pull him back in to the MCU. It's great bringing him back, and then it just. Every movie gets better, and then we can talk about the next one.
It really does.
Hey guys, you ever seen that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back? You know that part? Where they're on the snow planet? With the walking thingies?
So let's get into Far From Home. Of course, the second movie in the Holland Trilogy so far.
It wouldn't be a trilogy anymore if there's more.
That's true. Yes. So either way, this is the end of Phase 3, very last movie in Phase 3.
Most people think it ended with Endgame, and actually it ends with Far From Home.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And what we see here is, of course, with the events of Endgame, we've got a big old Iron Man-sized hole in the MCU, and he's still kind of looming over Spider-Man.
He does, and it's interesting to note that in these Spider-Man movies, so in Homecoming takes place shortly after the events of the Avengers.
Yes.
Because as we said, Vulture was scrapping Chitauri technology, was his job, was what he was doing, and then he became a criminal doing it.
Right.
And in the second movie is after the events of Infinity War and Endgame, which is basically one big movie, in which Spider-Man participated. Right?
Well, along with Civil War.
And he had participated in Civil War before Homecoming, which led up...
Guy likes war.
Yeah, yeah. Which Homecoming, of course, Civil War takes place after the Avengers as well.
Yes.
So it's interesting that the Spider-Man movies are all wrapped around the big Avengers films.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Which is, it's pretty cool. Of course, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, wants to be an Avenger. And within the Homecoming is, that's
he turns it down at the end of Homecoming, right?
It turns it down.
Where's the kid?
He left.
Everybody's waiting.
You know what? He actually made a really mature choice. Just surprised the heck out of us.
Did you guys screw this up?
He told the kid to go wait in the car.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
And then at the beginning of this next movie, while he's an Avenger anyway, it happened.
Yeah.
Because Tony Stark had to recruit him during the fight with Thanos because it was all the heroes of Earth.
Yeah, there was a night.
Essentially.
Kid, you're an Avenger.
Right. We pick him up in Far From Home. He's grown quite a bit.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So much so that, it's like at the end of Homecoming, he kind of doesn't want the responsibility. He goes off to Europe. He doesn't even pack a suit.
Well, no, he wants to go on vacation. He's a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And
there's the girl that I like.
Again.
And that's what he wants to do is try to be with MJ. He doesn't want to go and do hero things, so he doesn't bring the suit, although May packs it for him.
May packs it for him.
With a banana.
and they can't take the banana.
Right.
But the high-tech superhero suit, yeah, sure.
They're just like, yeah, it's just some kid who likes Spider-Man. Go ahead, have fun.
And that's fine. The other thing we get from Far From Home is the first mention of the blip, with tying into the MCU.
In the very beginning.
In the very beginning,
at the student broadcast with, Betty Brant and the kid next to her co-anchor, which is interesting because they really, Betty Brant was also in the Toby trilogy, but she worked at the Daily Bugle.
Right.
And in this instance, she is basically the kid. When I was in high school, it was called Channel 1. Others of you out there may have watched Channel 1.
With the terrible broadcast.
Yeah, with a terrible broadcast. And
the boom mic coming into the shot several times. And it's just...
So they mentioned the blip for the first time, and then kids that have blipped and then come back, and you have the instance of a kid who you were older than, you come back and now he's older than you.
One particle of unobtainium has a nuclear reaction with a flux capacitor. Carry the two, changing its atomic isotoner into a radioactive spider. Fuck you, science.
Yeah.
So really strange events that happen, and Spidey also gets a gift from what he believes to be Fury. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
He gets paid a pair of not really cheap sunglasses.
No, they'd be quite expensive, I would imagine.
EDITH stands for Even Dead, I'm the Hero. Tony loved his acronyms.
Just
Tony Stark,
typical Tony Stark, right? Yeah.
And we know how much that Tony really loved Peter Parker. He didn't tell him how much he loved him. We saw on screen because he was
we know as the audience, yeah.
I mean, when he hugs him at the end, when he blips back, right, in Endgame, I mean, Tony is so happy to see him.
Yeah.
So now Peter has the keys to the kingdom.
Yes.
And he, he's a little overwhelmed by it because he's a kid, right? He doesn't know how to use it. He puts a hit out on the girl who's moving in on the girl he likes.
Yeah, the very first thing he does is accidentally put a hit on one of his classmates.
Yeah, he's a target.
Copy that. Target is Brad Davis. Initiating strike.
Initiating what now?
Which he then has to save him from. So he's definitely not ready for it.
No, he's not.
And in the Europe trip, they encounter these elementals, as they're called, and that brings into the fold Mysterio.
They all play as a good guy. Now, me, as someone who read the comic books as a kid, I'm like, Mysterio is not a good guy.
That ain't a good guy. What are you doing?
Mysterio is one of Spidey's biggest villains. Mysterio in the comic is one of the few villains that actually injures Spider-Man.
Sure.
Broke his arm. And he's a tough villain for Spidey, and he was portrayed really well in this film by Jake Gyllenhaal.
Sure. Well, they made a guy with a fishbowl on his head still seem cool and almost intimidating.
This is a big win, but we still got a lot of work to do.
And it was really well done. Again, that's one of those things that the MCU does so well, is taking something that was cheesy or corny or just goofy in the comics and translating it into something that actually works.
I possess the most advanced entertainment algorithm in the world, and it produces near perfect products.
And the MCU, and I don't know that it was a strategy by the actual people at Marvel, or it was just an opportunity that Disney saw, because Disney's obviously really good at that.
Yeah.
Of waiting until technology got to the right place to be able to do these characters. There's a reason that they didn't do Spider-Man for so long, is because, not only Marvel went through bad times monetarily, but technologically you couldn't portray Spider-Man on screen until the first film.
No.
And the same now, you couldn't do Mysterio in 1995 the right way.
No,
it would be cheesy as hell.
It would look terrible.
But to do it the right, it's just like the Hulk. Look at the Lou Ferrigno Hulk from the 70s compared to the Hulk in these films.
Yeah.
Not the same thing.
Well, another great example of that is the Spawn movie, 97.
Funny, he's our man. If you can't kill him, no one can. Yay, funny. S to the P to the A to the 1. S to the P to the A to the 1. Go funny.
Enough from the clown.
The effects look so bad. Otherwise, that would have been a cool movie. But the effects, seriously, it looks like it was done on a PS1.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
The Violator clown is fantastic, though.
Well, yeah, it's John Leguizamo. He's great. Yeah.
So they make
Mysterio.
They make a character that could be is ripe to be pure cheese on screen.
100%. Yeah.
I'll give you an example of a company that didn't do that right. I'm looking at you, DC, with Mr. Freeze.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Oh, good God.
Arnold, Mr. Freeze. Ah, yeah, Batgirl, Wine Lady. How cheesy is he on screen? And he doesn't have to be Mr. Freeze.
So bad.
If you look at the cartoon Mr. Freeze and the Dark Knight cartoon that was out in the 90s, Mr. Freeze is awesome.
Yes. It would move me to tears if I still had tears to shed.
He's a cool villain.
Batman the Animated Series is spectacular in all regards.
And we'll do another video on that. We won't get too deep into that now.
You betcha.
But that's one thing that Marvel has, to Phil's point, Marvel has excelled at, has made potential cheese very cool.
Yes.
And so Jake Gyllenhaal comes in as Mysterio, and he's playing it up like he's a good guy. He thinks he's fooling Nick Fury and Aunt Robin, and he comes closer than you might think.
Yeah.
And as they're going through, but he eventually swindles Peter Parker out of Edith.
See, that wasn't so hard.
Which was his whole plan.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because in the MCU, in order to become a villain, you have to be swindled by Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Or slighted by Tony Stark.
It's happened a couple times, sure.
Well, yeah. In fact, those people are on his team, are on Mysterio's team.
And they were in the movies.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
They were in Peter Billingsley. I mean, he did shoot his eye out. Well, he didn't really shoot his eye out.
He didn't.
But he is in Iron Man 1.
Missed opportunity there, though. Mysterio targets him.
You'll shoot your eye out.
I'll shoot your eye out.
Yeah. That would have been funny.
It would have been funny.
But yeah, so then he's revealed as the bad guy to the audience, if not to the characters in the film.
Sure.
And then Peter has to go through and learn and overcome, and he grows, right? He has to overcome Mysterio's ability to film and really trust his spider sense.
Peter Tingle.
That's what you're talking about, right? It's not working, though. I heard it wasn't working right now. Is it?
It is working.
Yes, it's Peter Tingle.
Peter Tingle.
He has to learn to trust his spider sense to be able to defeat Mysterio, and he does, which again is growth as a character and growth as a hero.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that he can rely on, and it's a really, really great, except for that Ralphie screws him and takes a video.
Yes.
Which
out of context as well.
Gives to the man, the myth, the legend returns.
Brace yourselves, you might want to sit down.
J. Jonah Jameson, of course, played by J.K. Simmons. And the reason for that, they couldn't find anyone better.
There is no one better.
There is no one better.
When Mysterio thinks that he fooled Fury, well, you find out in the bonus scenes, my favorite bonus scene that's been in any of the Marvel films, that's not Nick Fury and Aunt Robin.
You gotta tell me.
That is Talos.
Yeah.
And his Skrull girl.
Yeah, right.
With him. I don't know her name. That's why I called her the Skrull girl. Sorry.
And Fury's chilling on a beach in a spaceship.
Go back to work. Time to go back to work.
Where's my shoes?
It's so great. When Talos, Director Krennic, is telling him, we talked to the kid and it was great.
It was great.
But there was an incident.
It's all fine now.
You probably need to come back. Fury's like, it's like, I asked you to do one thing.
That was your job. Your only job.
Now, that was a cool reveal at the end of the movie. I didn't see it coming, and in hindsight, I should have, and we all should have.
Well, because Fury was testy.
Yeah,
more than normal.
More than normal. Not just that, though. In the Captain Marvel movie, he tells Captain Marvel, they call me Fury.
Right.
My mom calls me Fury. My friends call me Fury. Everybody calls me Fury. And in the opening scene where they have the elemental and Mysterio shows up, she calls him Nick.
Yeah.
It's clearly not Fury, right?
Right.
Just a nice little nod. Reaching back to...
And when Peter is trying to resist going into combat, and they're like, well, what about this guy? What about that guy?
Captain Marvel.
Don't invoke her name.
Do not invoke her name. Yeah.
There's that. And
well, you think of it as, like fervent respect, but what it actually is like, look, all right, I had my deal with her. I don't want to deal with Captain Marvel. It's because it's Talos.
Talos, right, because Nick Fury and Captain Marvel are buds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So just a really cool nod to the Captain Marvel connection there.
Fury. This was a great movie. It's the second best live action Spider-Man film.
It is the second best. Let's go ahead and pop on to the first best.
Let's do it.
Oh, I love Led Zeppelin.
All right, so let's get to the best live action Spider-Man movie there is. This one, of course, No Way Home picks up right where Far From Home leaves off.
Yeah.
With J. Jonah Jameson giving his report and outing Peter Parker to the world.
Yeah, so one of the bonus scenes in Far From Home is the beginning of No Way Home.
Yeah.
And, you are treated to... this movie's amazing. It might
really
be the best MCU live action film there is. You can make a debate between that and Endgame Infinity War, because really that's one movie.
Sure.
So Peter Parker gets outed as Spider-Man, and his world is just blown up right then and there.
Totally blown up.
And we get early on in the film, the first of the secret people being in it that everyone denied. We see Daredevil.
So
Charlie
cool.
Cox comes in as Matt Murdock.
He's a really good lawyer.
He's a really good lawyer. As Peter Parker's attorney.
Yes.
And, it's incredible, as Phil's just referenced, when the brick comes through the window and Pete's reflexes are going to catch it, and Matt Murdock gets it before he even gets there.
How did you just do that? I'm a really good lawyer.
So cool. So cool.
Oh, I cheered in the theater.
There isn't a better Daredevil than Charlie Cox.
No.
Not that he's had very stiff competition.
What's your idea of better? To define better.
No, but Charlie Cox is great as the Daredevil, and it was a great move by Marvel when they reacquired that property.
Yes.
To retain him as Daredevil.
Absolutely.
And he really was into it, right? Again, we've talked about this in other videos. Charlie Cox wants to play Daredevil.
Yes.
Wants to play Matt Murdock.
Yep.
He loves the role, and you can tell by the way and the care of which he gives it. Now, we have then since seen him in She-Hulk.
So the devil ninja guy, he's a lawyer?
Yes.
Right.
And doing a great job.
And he's fully back in. But this is our first in the actual MCU, and it's a snippet.
Yeah.
But it's wonderful.
It's a short clip, but it's absolutely worth it. You're absolutely right.
And then we get to, comes back, Doc Ock.
Yes.
And then the Green Goblin. I mean, it's just a scene where Spider-Man all of a sudden is introduced as he's trying to get him and his friends into MIT because they were denied because of all the bad press around Spider-Man.
Yeah.
While he's trying to do this with the associate dean that he's pleading his case to out in the street in the public, he's ambushing her to go talk to her.
Yeah, in a wrinkly suit.
Through the portal. Actually, because let's back up for a minute.
Yes.
He goes to do that because he didn't bother to think to contact them before asking Doctor Strange
to brainwash the entire planet.
To cast a spell to brainwash the entire planet.
Well, I mean, when you put it like that, then...
Which Doctor Strange is kind of like, get out of my house.
Right.
When he finds out that he did that
totally
first.
Kicks him out the door, slams the door in his face.
Because he goes to cast the spell, and then he decides that, nope, you screwed it up too many times. Because, this, and MJ needs to know, and then so then Doctor Strange contains it, and he's like, sorry, kid. He's like, especially since after you call and talk to him, and because
you did everything you could.
You can do that? It's just funny. Benedict Cumberbatch is just the grumpy mentor now.
Well, and when he moves the thing to the side and just like,
wait, yeah,
like right at him, it's so great.
So as Peter is doing this, Doc Ock comes in, and Doc Ock is all yelling at him, about because it's like Doc Ock thinks that he was just in this fight with him.
Yeah,
right from when he was pulled, because he was pulled at his death scene in Spider-Man 2, and Peter is like, I don't know who you are, dude.
Nah.
And then you see the pumpkin ball and hear the ha 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 ha.
Yeah, just that ting. tink, tink.
And it's just awesome.
Oh, so cool.
In comes Willem Dafoe, the best live-action Spider-Man villain there is.
He's so great.
Easily.
There's no argument there. He's the best.
He's great. And he comes in, and then Spidey's fighting them both. And then you get a funny moment when Spidey takes control of Doc Ock's suit.
Pairing new device.
You don't listen to him. You listen to me.
And then starts to, the movie as it starts to really progress. You have all of the Spider-Man villains come into Peter Parker's timeline from the other two franchises, the other two iterations of Spider-Man.
Absolutely. You get Kurt Connor's Lizard.
Yep.
You get Electro.
Yep.
Coming
Jamie
in
Foxx.
there. You get Sandman coming in there.
Thomas Hayden Church.
Super duper cool.
Yeah, and you have all these guys coming in, and Strange is like, all right, we're just going to send them home. And now Pete has where they're all going to die because they all came in before their deaths.
Right.
And Pete had talked to Aunt May, and Aunt May was kind of like, that's not the right thing to do. You could maybe save these guys.
Well, and Aunt May is all about helping people, right? I mean,
Right.
she works at a charity as it is. I mean, it's something where she's instilling that value into Peter, and Peter really takes it to heart.
Well, and she's implying, and she doesn't say it yet, but she's implying the power responsibility paradigm that Peter always gets
right
in his life, and we'll get to that in a minute. So he defies Doctor Strange and says, no, I want to help him, and Ned and MJ help him.
Yep.
His guy in the chair. Ned and MJ.
Guy in a chair.
Guy in a chair.
Everyone please observe. The fasten seatbelt and no smoking signs have been turned on. Sit back and enjoy.
Take the chair, or the guy out of the chair, but not the chair out of the guy.
Something to that effect.
Weird.
And as he's helping them go through, it starts to go bad.
Yes. So while helping all of the villains, of course, Green Goblin rears his ugly head.
That's some neat trick. That sense of yours. Norman? Norman's on sabbatical, honey.
And ends up fighting Spider-Man, and Spider-Man fails to save, well, everybody.
And Aunt May, before she could perish, she gives him the "with great power comes great responsibility" speech.
And with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
Yes, exactly. Usually delivered by Uncle Ben, but there is no Uncle Ben, so we gotta do that. And that's his tragic loss, right?
And that is sneakily the end of his origin story.
I fear you're underestimating the sneakiness, sir.
Totally crazy. That
Totally sneaks up on you and slaps you in the face when Aunt May says, "With great power comes great responsibility."
Yeah.
And then minutes later, it's killed by the Green Goblin.
Well, because we looked at, and we even mentioned in the first two movies, it doesn't say there's no origin story. But
Right.
what they really did was just slide it into the movies gradually, so you got 3 movies worth of origin story.
But it doesn't feel like an origin story because it's fresh and new the way they did it again.
It's the way to do it.
This is the way.
These 3 movies ooze the spirit of Spider-Man.
100%. And a lot of that is, of course, due to Tom Holland and his portrayal.
Right.
He's so good as Peter Parker. He's so good as Spider-Man.
He is.
I mean, he's the best. We went through and tried to rank them, and we were like, well, people say Tobey's the best.
Right, but Garfield's
Peter Parker
really
and
great as
Garfield's.
Spider-Man.
No, it's real easy. It's 3, 2, 1 is Tobey, Garfield.
Ouch.
Holland.
I don't want to brag, but I will.
Yeah.
You know,
1, 2, 3. Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2,
You were
1.
right.
I
You
said
said it
it,
right.
I said
You
it
said it
right.
right the first time.
And okay with you, Jack?
My apologies.
And that's in every aspect of the character.
100%.
Every aspect.
100%. And speaking of those 2 other guys, while Peter is fighting the Sinister Six Sans 1, essentially, which is also very cool. They sneakily get to fight Spider-Man fighting the Sinister Six.
So cool.
Ned,
Sinister 5.
While Spidey was fighting Doctor Strange to get the cube that he stored the spell in so that he couldn't send them back before he finished what he was doing, he also stole Doctor Strange's
sling ring.
Ow. And gave it to Ned. And then Ned is able to use it.
Somehow.
and summons.
Well, he is the Hobgoblin. He's not the Hobgoblin
that we know of yet.
But yeah,
the comic book that leads us is able to summon first Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker and then Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker.
So cool. And I'll tell you, I mean, obviously we went and saw this in the theater, and the theater just exploded.
Why are my drippings with goo?
When Andrew Garfield came on. And, you know...
And for Tobey.
Yeah, for Tobey as well,
but
yeah.
Garfield steals this movie.
Absolutely.
Steals the show.
You're amazing. Just to take it in for a minute.
Yeah, I can take it in. No, I can take it in.
You are amazing.
I can take it in.
You are amazing.
Thank you, yeah, thanks.
Will you say it?
No, I kind of needed to hear that. Thank you.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He definitely steals the show. Now, when I had first seen No Way Home, I had never seen any of the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I hadn't seen Garfield as Spider-Man at all.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
And I told you it was going to hit you different rewatching it now that you've seen those movies.
It most certainly did, because obviously I've since gone back and rewatched them. You can watch the other episode on the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. It completely hit me differently having Andrew Garfield in that universe, because I loved Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. And you're right. You said it before. He stole the show in this movie.
When Andrew Garfield saves MJ at the end of No Way Home, I mean, if you're a Spider-Man fan, it just gets you misty. I don't care who you are.
It hits you.
Especially because he's all moved of when she's like, thank you. He's like, you're okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay?
Because, you know, he's still...
He's not okay.
No, he's not okay because Gwen Stacy's death still haunts him to this day.
Of course.
But the fact that he was actually able to go save the girl this time.
Yeah. Exactly shot for shot when she's falling, it's identical. And it's just so cool to see the redemption there.
Right, because Tom Holland tries and he gets the Green Goblin, picks him off.
Yeah.
And Garfield's like, nope, not on my watch. This ain't happening again.
Exactly.
And that's another cool factor is that Garfield and Tobey act like big brothers to Holland.
100%. Although Garfield's Spider-Man does go a little overboard with it.
Wait! I love you guys. Thank you.
For so long. He's happy to have friends. You know?
It's there's a lot of fun with the three of them. I mean, all kinds of inside jokes. They do the meme.
Yes,
you know,
the pointing, the meme.
They make the Tobey's back joke when Garfield is cracking his back.
We talked about that in the second Spider-Man movie, the Tobey's second Spider-Man movie. They made that back joke. Well, they brought it into No Way Home as well. Like, my back from swinging around.
I mean, it's so hilarious. Great. And then about how Tobey shoots him organically, and Holland and Garfield both have to make their own web shooters, and they're all just keep going on about, well,
like, does it just come out of your wrists, or does it come out of anywhere else?
Only the wrists.
Well, when they're trading stories,
do they shoot webs from anywhere else?
Did you find anybody cool? Who's the coolest villain you fought? Like that whole scene where they're just kind of going back and forth is so cool.
Oh yeah, right. Because Tobey's like, well, I did fight a black goo alien once, and Holland's like, yeah, I fought an alien, a purple one. In space. And they're like, wait,
on Earth and in space.
You were in space? And then they talk about we don't have to fight as a team, and Holland's like, well, I do. I don't want to brag, but I was in the Avengers. Like, that's awesome. What's that?
What's that?
You were in a band? You don't know what the Avengers is? I mean, it's hilarious. It's hysterical.
And again, a subtle nod to the fact that Sony's been so alienated with Spider-Man. He's the only hero
that's the license
in those universes. Yes, exactly. So it's just really cool stuff. The banter between the three of them. And it was an unexpected surprise. Because, we all knew it was coming, right?
Well, and Garfield lied his ass off all the way. I'm not in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm not in that movie. I'm not in the movie. I'm not in the movie.
I lied.
He's in the movie. He's in the movie. And he steals the movie.
He steals the show. He's wonderful in the film.
Yes.
Tobey's wonderful in the film. To see the three of them together fighting was just great. I mean, as a Spider-Man super fan, it gives me chills, gives me goosebumps now just talking about it.
Well, and even the reunions after the battle, after they cure them, because that's the whole point of it, right? With Garfield and Jamie Foxx, their characters getting together and just talking it out for a little bit. That's
Jamie Foxx and Garfield is so great.
That's so great. Like, oh man, I thought you helping poor people. You're from Brooklyn, and I thought you were black, man. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's cool. He's like, there's got to be a black Spider-Man out there. And there is.
And it's so great because Garfield kind of looks to the camera like,
there is.
There is.
He's coming. He's not here yet.
Like, that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's a cool moment.
Was cool.
And then Toby and Alfred Molina coming together again. It just cool moments that we couldn't have had it any other way.
No, I mean, Marvel was able to do fan service and make a great movie at the same time.
Which is historically impossible.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
But they did it. And
they did it with this one. Well, you know, another thing that came out of that that's really cool is, you know, the villains are slightly redesigned, each one of them, all of them.
A little bit.
But the one who benefited the most from that, Electro. Without a doubt. When he appears at the final fight sequence for the first time, they give him like the comic kind of mask that Electro wore.
Yep.
Just in electricity. And I mean, Jamie Foxx is great as Electro anyway, but his redesign and the way he appeared in this film was just great. It's how he should have appeared before.
Well, I mean, but I was all right with the blue and the Amazing Spider-Man too. I said it before, I'll say it again. Him and Doc Ock are 1A and 1B for the second best Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
You know, Jamie Foxx is Electro, and I hope we see him again. I hope we see the Sinister Six in a future Spider-Man movie. You know,
with all of them.
We would be remiss if not mentioning the bonus scene with Tom Hardy and Venom.
No, we have to mention that. Danny Rojas.
Spider-Man. It gives us the opportunity for. I mean, a little piece of Venom was left behind when he blipped back.
Sure was. The symbiote sitting there on the bar.
If you go with the bonus scene at the end of Venom 2, where Venom sees Tom Holland on TV and is like, "Ooh, who's that?" We're gonna see Venom in the MCU #1, and I think we're gonna see another Spider-Man in the Venomverse. We said it in the other video. I'm gonna say it again. Please, Sony, give Andrew Garfield another Spider-Man movie and put him in the Venomverse.
Yeah.
Did you see that? I can't really tell, but it seems like he's very good.
Put Garfield in there. It's a no-brainer. I mean, you saw him in this movie. You saw how people reacted to it, and he does a great
and he loves
job.
Being Spider-Man.
He does. He loves being
He's a super fan. So let's get some more.
Yeah, throw him in there
and
with
then
Tom Hardy. Let's see him battle.
You're doing Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So let's do this suit right, okay?
Please.
Let's
Black
get her
suit
done.
Spider-Man.
Please.
That's all we want.
All right, that's all we need. I'm good.
All right. In that case, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up on the Tom Holland trilogy of Spider-Man movies.
Absolutely.
So far, we're going to see more. That'll be good stuff.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I would like to remind you to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. We are out there. Remember that likes are free. You can like the video for free. You can comment. We want to know what you think about that.
Are we nuts? Whatever. Let us know.
Maybe we are.
Do you agree with us? Let us know.
That'd be great too. Also, remember to share us with all your nerd friends so they can join in the party as well. And with that, we will say,
What's on your nerd card?